Good morning, everybody. My apologies for yesterday. It anyway, and for Sunday too. I apologize. There were just some things that I couldn't work around it quickly enough. I did manage to get the leak figured out in my own makeshift way. Because really where the leak happened, it would have cost a lot to get it fixed, like a lot. And yeah, when I tell you, it just doesn't stop. It don't stop. I'm simply just anticipating at this point, not the if. I'm only anticipating the when. I'm just waiting on the when, not the if. Anyway. There is a conversation I want to have. And what I really, really want to get into is this idea that most have about God. Yeah, it's specifically about God. And so we're going to be getting into a few videos today. And I'm there was one that just popped into my head. And I want to address it because it is pretty important to talk about. Let me see if I can find a timestamp on this one here. I recently came across a video of what's his name? Help me, Corey, Smart Christians channel. If my brain seems confuffled today, it's because it is. I'm still trying to figure out everything. And anyway, one of the crazier things that came across was he had a debate, I guess, with somebody. And that debate was interesting indeed. This guy came up and was asking him about the salvationary issues and whether or not the way Corey saw salvation was the correct way. But it wasn't even about the debate for me about whether or not a person is saved and really saved and all this. We'll get into that another day. What really jumped out at me was one of the statements the guy made that absolutely floored me. I absolutely floored. Absolutely. But I understand now why people think like that. So we're going to be playing a couple of things before that part. And I want y'all to hear why people have such an interesting view about God. Not a good view of it, but an interesting one. Now, you're going to hear a couple of them. And now the first one is in a so-called church. The second one is a view of people who claim to be chosen. Okay, and we're going into that for a very specific reason. But you'll hear the first part of this one, and this is one of the reasons why God is viewed a certain way.
Giving faith and I, Roberta McCoy, giving faith and stand in unity with the vision of perfecting church of sowing this seed of $1,000 plus $235 and receiving the blessings to come to all that participated.
Now that's only $1,200.
Yes.
Y'all not listening to what I'm saying. If you have 1,000 plus 1,000.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna work on the other 800.
Well, that ain't what I asked you to do.
Now, some of you may have seen that clip going around of people coming forward with their hard-earned money because they genuinely believe that what the pastor is saying is going to somehow get them a more beneficial blessing by giving money. And since he required a certain amount and she didn't procure that amount, he is now berating her for not listening, for being an idiot, and now coming forward with this only $1,200 business. You know, I didn't ask you for this, I asked you for $2,000. Reason number one, people have a poor view of God. Then there are people who think they just create their own God, they'll be okay.
Self, do you love your neighbor as yourself?
I love my neighbor as myself. That's correct.
So do you love white people?
He's not my neighbor.
Do you love white people?
He's not my neighbor.
Do you love white people?
He's not my neighbor.
Do you love white people, Ambassador?
But he's not my neighbor.
And what's the answer
no.
to that?
No.
You don't love white people?
No.
And do your God love white people?
No. Right. God only loves the children of Israel. You as a pastor should know that.
Is the white man the devil?
Yes.
Is it okay to hate?
Yes.
Now, that second person was a Hebrew Israelite. You know those idiots. He has a very big following on YouTube, and he's a special kind of retard. I just want y'all to know that that's exactly what I think about the Hebrew Israelite nations. Every last one of them are a conglomeration of retarded people that think they have some solution to their race issue and giving people a very bad image of who God really is. That's problematic. But it all culminates in the walk, right? When we really believe in ourselves that we're better than we really are, we actually make God less. We make God less of who he actually is. And when we hear something about his nature that confounds our view of him because we're number one, we say some really dumb stuff. And I mean some off-the-wall, insane, moronic, silly, doofus-like stuff. And the guy on the left is who you're going to hear makes one of the most stupid statements I have ever heard from somebody claiming to have biblical literacy. When I tell you at first when he came up, he seemed to be, cordial, quickly turned his attention to something else, and he kept moving and kept interrupting. And then came this portion of the video. And it had me thinking, we don't, humankind in general, we don't believe God is God. We really don't believe that who God says he is is. We don't believe that. I'll show you what I mean. Take it away.
Deuteronomy. Let's go to Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy 10 tells them to fix their heart.
So we're jumping from okay.
See the interruption again, and it happened the entire. I couldn't stand people like that. I would have booted him, but Corey has more patience than I do, and I do give him credit every time I chance I get. That it seems all the Coreys have patience. I don't have that patience, and I'm gonna let God figure that patience thing out for me. But I would have done booted him from the screen forever ago. I just want you all to know. If you watch it, just know he would have never lasted on this program.
Well, because I'm trying to lay out what God is. And this is consistent from the beginning to the end. God has always said that the issue with mankind is his heart, which is what I said earlier. So in Deuteronomy 10, 16, he tells them to circumcise their heart. Stiffen your neck no longer and circumcise your heart. Right? Now, do that.
No, there's no response, right? Why? Because it doesn't fit what he's coming on to do. And I listened to it at first and I thought, well, why wouldn't you respond? But then when he said that most moronic thing that's coming up, I understood exactly what was happening. I understood.
They never do. How do we know? Because all throughout the Old Testament, God keeps telling them to circumcise their heart, fix your heart. And he says in different ways that the heart is wicked, desperately sick. But then also later on in Deuteronomy, he tells them that he is going to circumcise their heart at some point in time in the future. He reiterates that in Jeremiah, in Ezekiel, in Amos, in Hosea, all throughout the scriptures. He starts talking about how he is going to fix mankind's heart.
Now, please listen. Listen. Do we really believe that we have such a huge role in salvation that we dictate it? Are we really at the delusional state where we really believe that we are the arbiters of salvation? I think that's where we are now. And I think that is what the biggest issue with the current iteration of the church is. We sincerely believe, sincerely, like I'm not, this is apart from delusionary, we really believe that the arbiters of it, the controller of it, the reason behind it, is us. We have become the main character and God is more like a side piece.
That's the problem. That's the problem from Genesis on, until man's heart is fixed. Why is he fixing man's heart? Because man is wayward.
Now, mind you, the Old Testament, the conversion of the heart of stone to flesh, that changing only happened in the spiritual realm permanently with the death of Christ. The request was there before. They did sacrifices. There had to be a full atonement in order for it to be a fully done deal. And the only way that could take place is not from us doing more. It's not from us changing our mind just randomly. It had to have something that could be a transitionary point for us to move from one phase spiritually to another. We couldn't do it. No matter how much we felt like it, we couldn't do it. Here it comes here pretty soon. It'll be another 2 minutes, but trust me, it'll come up quick.
From the time that he's born, he might want to do right for the moment, but at some point in time, he is going to sin. Name the person in the Bible who, if now we don't have enough accounting of someone like Enoch, so we don't know where he may or may not have sinned. But if we have an account of the person enough, we'll see the person has given off some sort of sin, something that was not quite right. But it doesn't matter. God is still God, because remember, the highlight of this isn't us. The purpose of salvation isn't about us.
Right.
It's about the Son.
Yeah.
That he would be glorified.
Period.
That's the whole point of salvation.
Point blank.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if you're actually answering my point. The point of contention is not we are regenerated after we believe. It's how we are regenerated by placing faith in Christ.
No, you're regenerated by the work of the cross and God himself doing it. Your belief only puts you in order for the regeneration to happen. That's it. You don't just enter into regeneration because you feel like it. The person instigating regeneration is God. The person creating regeneration that is able to have regeneration occur in you is not you. Not your decision making, not your wondrous choices, not just your faith. It is God that does it. We have gone so far from giving God the place that he is rightfully due. And here's the crazy part. Whether you give it to him or not, he still has it. Whether you care, whether you believe, it doesn't change where, who, and how God is. None of it changes it. In your mind, your feeble little mind, it might, but otherwise it doesn't. The sovereignty of God has been so far long forgotten that he is now just a regular dude. You want to know how I know this guy believes that? Watch.
It's like, that's like the simplicity of the gospel. If you put your faith in Christ, you are regenerated. You become a new person. And how do we know? It's if they bear fruit and if they abide and they remain, then.
Wait. So which is it? Is it you're regenerated, period, or you regenerated, and then if you have fruit, then it's regeneration, or you need to see their fruit in order to know the regeneration happened, or is it on them? He still hasn't clarified what his point is, because he doesn't know what his point is. And I'll prove to you that he doesn't know what his point is in his next statements.
We know someone is a genuine believer.
Okay.
It's like, there's no need for God to arbitrarily choose people.
Listen to me carefully. Listen to what he says. There is no need. Listen to the wording. There is no need for God to arbitrarily choose people. I want y'all to let that one soak in for just a second. There is no need for God to do that. Well, I'll show you something in a minute that will counter that statement.
Before the foundation of the earth,
There's no need.
and 100% of humanity deserves hell, but he just only picks a select few.
Now, mind you, here it comes the problem. Now, many, when they watched this, they saw the contention of pre-selection to salvation or determination by self into salvation. I'm not looking at that at all. I'm not even remotely looking at that. That's another distractionary tactic. You know what I mean? It's a distractionary. And I'll tell you why it's distractionary. The choice to choose God and follow him has zero, and I mean zero impact on what he did. Zero. Whether you choose Christ or not has zero impact on him creating the avenue for you to come in. There are those that will not choose Christ. They won't. They simply will not. And you want me to believe that God, knowing this, is taking away their choice? No. That's like me saying, okay, look, I know for a fact I can't grow a plant in this plastic here. I can't. But I'm still going to make this plastic thing. Now, somebody comes along and tries to tell me that you're just not giving the plastic a chance to grow anything. But I tell you, but I know the nature of this plastic and it will not grow it. I'm still making the plastic. I know what the plastic can do, though. But what it will not do is what I told you. It will not grow anything. What this comes down to is us really believing that we are not God. If we need to get back to that belief. We are not God. We're not. Now here comes the off the wall, most stupid thing anybody I have ever seen that claims to know God has ever said. When I say I'm going to tell you, I'm going to call him names, yes, because you have to be retarded to say what he's about to say. Or you think you're God. Let's go. Let me back it up just a second.
Before the foundation of the earth,
There's no need.
and 100% of humanity deserves hell, but he just only picks a select few. That's what I'm saying. Like,
What's wrong with that? If that's the case,
that's unconditional election.
What's wrong with that?
Now, mind you, I think it's a legitimate question. What is wrong with God deciding who he will and won't save? Let me ask y'all that. What is the problem with God deciding who he saves and who he doesn't? What if somebody hears about God questions him all the time. But they say they're a Christian, right? And they question, nag, bug, all day long. Do you think God knows the heart and intentions of man? Now, knowing the heart and intentions of man is not the same as controlling their decisions. I just want you all to remember this one thing. Just because I know what you're capable of, can do, have done, does not mean that I'm going to control what you do. That's like people that say, oh, they put drugs in our neighborhood. You're the idiot that went to sell it. If that is true, that somebody put drugs in your neighborhood, your moronic behind took it up and went to end the lives of other people because you could make a fast buck. Don't blame the system. Blame your stupidity. Salvation is freely offered. He wants everybody, but he understands and knows that not everybody will choose him. And he will call you a fool because you are a fool for not believing in God. It's not he's not trying to coerce you to come to talk to him. Don't talk to him. If that's what you don't do it. But here he comes with the stupid statement of the year.
That turns God into a monster.
Why?
Let me back it up. Do you hear the whole thing?
Okay.
It's like there's no need for God to arbitrarily choose people before the foundation of the earth.
There's no need.
And 100% of humanity deserves hell, but he just only picks a select few. That's what I'm saying. Like,
what's wrong with that? If that's the case,
that's unconditional election.
What's wrong with that?
That turns God into a monster.
God deciding what God wants out of his own creation makes him a monster. I want y'all to understand this nonsensical way of thinking here. So because God doesn't do what I want him to do, he's a monster. For someone to say that God has the options and the choice and the right to pick who he wants and not pick who he wants makes God a monster. In their minds, God is supposed to accept everything.
Why?
And he's not being fair.
He's not being fair. You're not being fair. Wow. We'll get back to that statement in a minute.
He's not offering everybody free will to choose him because they won't choose him.
Let's address.
He's not offering them free will to choose him. Okay.
That's that. Why does that make him into a monster? If we believe nobody is going to choose him, but he determines to choose a few on his own, why does that make him into a monster?
Because, Corey, that means there's elect babies in hell, there's elect children in, or I'm sorry, there's non-elect babies in hell, there's non-elect children in hell, there's non-elect siblings in hell, all because they could never choose God.
No. Remember, my stance is not
exactly what that means.
Hold on.
No. Again, when you're dumb, you're the only one that doesn't seem to realize that you're dumb. So let me clarify for the man with the backwards hat who doesn't know how to wear a hat. And we'll come back to another portion here, but we're done with that segment for a minute. Not being able to choose is not the same, smarty pants, as not choosing, you dummy. You absolute buffoon, it is not the same thing. If you didn't finish even elementary English, just say so. Just say that you have combined being slow and remedial with poor biblical understanding, and you get that dude. Not choosing is not the same as not being given the option to choose. You were given the option to choose. You said no. God ain't removing your choice. You're doubling down on your dotishness. That's all. You're being remedial by choosing no. Do you? He ain't gonna try and bend over backwards to try and please you to bring you to some full. No, you don't want him. Don't want him. You don't prep your heart for it. Don't prep your heart for it. If you don't want God, don't want God. God ain't chasing nobody like that. He opened the door. He allowed you an option to get in. You don't want in, then don't get in. But he did not remove the choice from you. In fact, it's because of his sacrifice that you have a choice. In fact, the only reason you have anything that you call a choice is because he gave you one. Please understand, you didn't have a choice before. Before the cross, there was no choice. He would have had to say, I will have, and as it said, I will have mercy on whom I have mercy, and I will have compassion on whomever I have compassion. You don't decide that. Because we have forgotten who God is. We really have. We don't want God to be God no more. In Romans, the scriptures say to the Pharaoh, for this very purpose I have raised you up, that I may show my power in you, and that my name will be declared in all the earth. Therefore he has mercy on whom he wills, and whom he wills, he hardens. He's God. I think that is where we have lost our ever-living minds when it comes to this Christian walk. We forgot who we serve in. We forgot who actually made us. We have forgotten the hierarchy. We just forgot it, or we don't care about it. Ephesians 2, starting at 4. But God, who is rich in mercy because of his great love, with which he loved us, even when we were dead in trespasses, made us alive together with Christ. By grace you have been saved, and raised us up together, and made us sit together in the heavenly places in Christ Jesus, that in the ages to come he might show the exceeding riches of his grace in his kindness towards us in Christ Jesus. For by grace you have been saved through faith, that not of yourselves. It is a gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast. For we are his workmanship, crafted in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. We've forgotten we are less. He is more. We forgot that. Philippians 2. For it is God who works in you both to will and to do for his good pleasure. Do all things without complaining and disputing, that you may be blameless and harmless, children of God, without fault in the midst of the crooked and perverse generation, among whom you shine as the lights of the world. So what happens when you forget who God really is? As inadequate as an example this will probably be the most inadequate example I can give. But it's like people walking up to Batman and forgetting who Batman really is. Like, you really think you're going to pull one on the mastermind himself? He done prep for you before you existed. That's how Batman rolls. You walk up on Batman and he already knows all your weaknesses. He knows where your family came from. He knows what you're wearing for color socks. He know what you had for breakfast. He know what you're going to have for dinner before you know that kind of stuff. That's like when there's cartoon characters walk up to Batman, bro. You really think you're pulling one on him? Come on, man. Come on. And that's just Batman. That's a fictional character. This guy is he will let you know his secret identity and not care. That's how off the chain he is. But when you happen to forget yourself and not realize that your biggest problem is that the lack of fear that you have for God has created in your mind a different God, you end up where that guy is. You end up no reverence, all hate, but you call it love. God is supposed to accept me because of what happened. He needs to. It's in his, it has to happen. Otherwise, he's unfair. God, unfair. Monster. Now, you remember some time back, I had a discussion with a guy named Jimmy Tux. Y'all remember that? An atheist, bald guy. We had similar backgrounds where he went to Church of Christ, the same thing as me. Y'all remember that guy? Well, he recently tagged me in a video. And I really appreciate the timing of all of it because I didn't get to watch any of it until this weekend. And the clip that he pulled out that put my video in, I don't have a problem with that. That's not the issue. Was perfect because in his mind, it's crazy. In his mind, what you're about to hear me say is crazy. In my mind, sanest thing I can say. Take it away.
Boom.
So as a consequence, the two dealers we spoke about at any time can become a third dealer, and that is an arms dealer.
I mean, if you just beat your chest and shout, "I will never deconvert," enough times, it will be true, right?
Okay. The question here is why people still believe in God all the time. Why? Why do you all still believe in this nonsensical stuff? Why do you keep putting yourself in these positions? Why? When you know it's not true. For you to know it is true. It is not true. And you know it. Why you still believe it. And you peddle that to other people. Peddle that to other people. Now, this was my statement about that.
Boom.
So as a consequence, the two dealers we spoke about at any time can become a third dealer, and that is an arms dealer.
I mean, if you just beat your chest and shout, "I will never deconvert," enough times, it will be true, right?
I will never change my viewpoint for anyone, any reason at all. It could be tomorrow. People could come busting down my door and tell me. Now, look at the title below. Instead of getting that verification, instead of fraud prevention or authentication, I'd die for a lie. To you, it's a lie. You believe it's a lie. I believe it to be true. Now, if you really were about free will and all that, then you would allow me the free will to believe what you call a lie. The same way, I am happy to let you believe there is no God. It's okay. You don't believe there's a God? Okay, don't believe there's a God. And I'm pretty sure I remember telling him this in that live. I remember telling Nitty the same thing too. If you don't want to follow God, don't follow God. I'm not trying to force you to do nothing. Don't follow him. Don't believe. There is no God to you, then there is no God to you. But I find it ironic that you keep trying to convince other people about what you think about. And if they don't believe it, they're crazy. Then by that metric, you crazy too. Because you're believing something I don't believe. That makes you psychotic by your own definitions. In my world, instead of you getting verification and fraud prevention and authentication, you die for a lie. The difference is I'm happy to watch you die for a lie because that was your choice. I'm glad for your ability to choose. You've chosen that. I didn't. Denounce God, I will put a bullet in your head. I will clear the spot for the bullet. I will go to the kitchen and get me some Clorox and wipe that spot. And I will grab their gun and I will put it right here and say, please make sure you don't miss.
A soldier of fortitude, or a combination of both.
Posturing like this can be a sign of deep insecurity in at least some cases.
Yeah, that's what it is. Insecurity, not conviction. Not conviction. Insecurity. That's okay. I'll stay insecure. Let me be insecure in my own, and whoever else feels insecure with me can listen to me. You are secure. Perfect. Stay secured. What I don't need is you trying to tell me about how I should live. I don't care how you live. I do not care. You've chosen that. But where does all that choice come from? If God really was a dictator and an absolute monster, you wouldn't have the choice. You wouldn't have a choice to follow him. It'd be pushed on you. You'd be whipped into submission. But you're given the option to curse him to his face, not believe in him, tell others not to, and call them blundering fools for not. You could do that, but he can't. You can say you're foolish for believing God, but when he says, the fool says in his heart, there's no God, how could I follow a God like that? He wouldn't. Why would he call somebody? You call everybody that follows that a fool. Your own metric works against you. But it stems from a lack of reverence for who God is, because they don't care who God is. But us as believers don't have that excuse. We say we believe in God. But really, those that say they believe in God but don't give him the authority he's due don't actually believe in God. They believe in their own version of God. They believe in a docile, stand off, let you do what you want kind of God. They don't want the God that will smite you. They don't want that God. They don't want the God that will come back and destroy everything. They don't want that God. They don't want the jealous God. They don't want the God that knows all, is everywhere, and does. They don't want that God, because that God in their mind is unfair. Because if he is everywhere, he's supposed to do what I want him to do to make me feel better, like cure cancer, save this, save that. No, we chose this. We could have had a world without this. Mankind chose this. And I know you can say, I wasn't there when Adam, because I would have chose differently. Would you have? Really? How do you know you would have chose differently? Now, of course, you can say that hindsight, but wonderful thing to say in hindsight. Everybody's an expert in hindsight. But don't you every day choose to disobey? Don't you, by your own admission, choose to disobey? Now, if you're disobeying to something teeny, teeny, tiny, is it not still disobedience? You think it was because of the gravity of a fruit? No, it was disobedience. Disobedience. But that happens because you don't fear, you don't revere, we don't know God. We hate him. We hate God. Humankind, I mean. God is controlling. He wants to be in charge. He doesn't want to be in charge. He is in charge. I don't get how you guys think that somehow he's trying to ascertain more power. He already has all power. He doesn't need your kowtowing. He doesn't need your approval to have the power. He does not need your recognition of his power for him to be powerful. How did we get to the point where we decide what God is for God? Like, look, I've heard some trippy stuff before in my lifetime. I really have. I've heard some really messed up stuff. That one takes the cake. That takes the cake. He didn't have to offer you salvation. Love would have still made it right to send you to hell. But love also gave him an option to give you an option. And he gave you an option. But not everybody will accept love. Some people, their love is give me what I want. And if you don't give me what I want, you don't love me. That comes from not knowing who God is and not caring. We don't have the authority, but we want it. We don't have the say so, but we want it. We don't have the power, but we want it. He does, but we don't revere it. I tell you, look, if it's one thing he's definitely not as unfair, and if it's one entity he could never be as a monster. Whatever God chooses to do, he does. I'm in no place, none whatsoever, to talk about it, to say he shouldn't have, to ask why didn't he do something different. If God knew, why wouldn't he? I'm in no position to do that. Job found out the hard way. See, because we have a twisted notion of what love is. And from the time we got that notion messed up in our minds, thank you to the devil, we have now planted our copy of love as who God should be. God is not that. God is so patient. His love is at a level so patient that he will let people talk ill about him for almost 80 years. If he was an unfair and monster God, you say one thing sideways, you wouldn't make it past 5 years old. Because that would be fair. Unfair is letting you continue to rant and talk your stupidity the rest of your life. That's unfair. Fair would be shutting you up the instant you even remotely try to say something sideways. Just snatch your mouth right off your face. Seal it up. That would be fair. Fair would be the eradication of you the instant you talk something sideways about God. That would be fair. Unfair is letting you continue to blab. Unfair to him is letting you even have a chance. So don't bring fair into this conversation. We don't want God to be fair. Trust and believe you don't want God to be fair. What? I don't want fair. I want grace. I don't want fair. I want faith. I want grace. I want mercy. Do not give me fair. Y'all don't want God to be fair. No, telling you now, you don't want God to be fair. You really think you want a fair God? Okay. I'll see what you think about that when the fairness shows up. Because fair would mean you're dead. That'd be fair. Fair would be no way back. That'd be fair. Fair would be the extinction of the human race. That'd be fair. We don't want fair. We want grace. We need grace. But when you don't understand the level of distance between who God is to where we are, we consider anything we want as fair. Forget what he wants. He might be off there in the ether, but everybody knows that God is love and he must love what I love. So it's all good. I don't want fair from God. I'll place faith so I can get grace. I deserve fair. I got grace. Tomorrow, don't have a topic yet, but you know how that goes. I do appreciate the prayers that you guys have been offering on my behalf, and those who've been trying to do some legwork to send options for us to find housing and all that stuff. I really do appreciate it. That has been very slow going, but you know how time goes. Time creeps up real fast, and before you know it, it'll be move out time, and I'll have no place to move out to. So, housing over here is stupid. The cost is outside of any reasonable request for the size you're getting. For not reasonable at all. Even if you had the money, it's not reasonable. But the conditions where I'm at, anything could be an upgrade at this point. Not lying. Anything could be an upgrade at this point. Anyway, but I do appreciate your guys' prayers. The biggest one is for my patience, because I am finding myself angry that I'm in this position. But I have to pull that back and try and refocus my mind, set it differently. And I'm doing that. I am doing that. It's just a little bit taxing, especially when you are doing okay and then you get up in the morning and there's issues. You know what I'm saying? So it's just taxing, I'm in Washington State at the moment, but I'm in the middle of Washington State, exactly in the middle. Hey, look, trust and believe me, Retro. There's only I think the only thing left right now is the kitchen sink. That is it. And I see it. I see the kitchen sink, and I'm ready for the kitchen sink. I've seen the kitchen sink. I know exactly what might be coming down the pike. Trust and believe me, it's not a surprise. But so anything he throws about patience, I think I'm expecting. I'm not saying I can handle. I'm just saying I expect it. So, yeah, it is what it is. Anyway, scrolling at the bottom, you know what to do. Not a requirement at all. Like I said, not at all. But the goal is to be back in the morning, God willing. I will not be on Savage tomorrow because I'm having to do an errand to go pick somebody up and come back. So I'll be gone around the time that they go live. But they seem to be doing just fine, so that's good. And then we're back on Thursday again. So really appreciate y'all. But please keep in mind, if nothing else, know your place. We are not God. We are beneath. We are less. He is everything. We are not. Once we get that, I think we'll be in better shape. If you really believe that he is loving, then you would have no problem with him deciding whatever he wants to decide. So maybe we should probably pay more attention to who he is. Get that straight. Wisdom calls to you from the streets. So please, please, please find wisdom. Peace.
Hold tight the dreams, for if dreams die, rely on your